to the first RIS Coffee Catch-Up series. Um, my name's Pranav, and you're with Holly as well, our Reading Internship Scheme coordinator. So we're delighted to have you on board. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm Katie. I'm third year. I study English Lit.
Great. So when did you do your RIS Internship Scheme?
So last year, I had the application process was roughly end of February, March time.
Okay. So was that a summer internship scheme then?
Well, it was started off meant to be spring. However, because of COVID, it got postponed, and then it got postponed quite a few times. And then the company was really nice, and they were like, just start after your exams. So then it became a bit of a summer internship.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so when you did come across RIS, how did you actually come across RIS in the first instance?
I think, so I was looking online at my jobs online, and I was kind of viewing different opportunities, and I was looking into the opportunities and what requirements, like job requirements and stuff that they required. And I was looking at them just for future reference, just a bit out of interest. And then I kind of accidentally stumbled across the internship scheme. And then once I was there, it was easy to view all the other internships going. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that it was easy to sort of navigate MJO. Do you have any tips for students who are trying to sort of look for these jobs, or where to look for them? Because some students might not actually be aware of where to find it, or the way you stumbled across it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely say, from my jobs online, I would definitely say use the filters and explore, because it's kind of more than just jobs. So obviously you've got the internships, you've got the jobs, but then also the pathways are now on MJO as well. So like the Red Award, for example, like you can fill that out on there. So I would say just have a play around with it, just kind of see what's on the website.
Yeah. So of course, you got it through MJO. What made you apply for the position that you found?
So I will also slightly plug the Thrive Mentorship Scheme here. So I had a Thrive mentor when I was in second year, and she actually works for the uni in the projects like management department. So project management / event management was something I was interested in. So we became like mentor and mentee, and she was amazing. She was really, really lovely. I'm still in contact with her now, so I recommend that little plug. Anyway, so I wanted to have a look and see what opportunities I had, professional opportunities, because I've had like dribs and drabs of like project management, event management experience, but nothing professional. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, I'm going to apply for that. And I was very motivated too, because it was a career path I wanted to explore, and I had the additional support of my mentor who was equipped in that profession.
Yeah. You mentioned having a mentor. Did you have additional support, like with your career consultants, or your mentor as well? Did she like give you advice on how to do your application, interview practice,
Yeah.
and things like that?
So I didn't actually utilize any of the careers centre, but I did. Obviously, like I said, I did obviously get help from my mentor, which she was really, really lovely. She helped me with my CV, because I'm someone who's always had a job. So when I came to uni, I had to have a bit of an interview, but I kind of basically transferred to the same job. So I didn't really have to think about my CV that much. And so it was kind of such a good experience, because she helped me unpick it and restructure it, basically as if the careers would do it. It's just she kind of, I don't know, I guess she felt a bit more accessible to me, especially because I was applying for kind of like the same sector she was working in. So she definitely helped me with the CV, and she was more than willing to help me with like interview questions. She just basically recommended me researching the 50 most popular common interview questions, and then I prepared for that basically, and she was really supportive. So yeah, that's how she helped me, basically mainly with my CV and then a bit of other extra guidance.
Right. Yeah, so you did mention, I mean, you wanted to follow your mentor's footsteps with the type of role she was doing. What did you like about the company you applied to?
So when researching about the company, it really had an emphasis on beauty, fashion, and retail. And fashion and beauty is something I'm very interested in. It's just something I enjoy. It's just a
Yeah.
hobby. And retail I've worked in like since I was 16. So I've worked in retail for quite a while. So it felt like quite a good fit for me. However, what I would say is that in my internship, when they said, why this company, why have you applied for us? I did think so I told them about my passions and my job experience, and they kind of said, we don't really focus on that anymore. And I was a bit like, oh well, my whole answer's been made invalid here. So they told me what they did do, because I'd done research about them. I'd looked at their website. I kind of knew their history. So when they told me that, I was like, okay, well, that's kind of on you. Like, that's on you guys. Um, so then when they told me what they did, so they kind of shifted slightly. So they had a focus on teaching and helping unemployed people. Um, and teaching people like skills about applying for jobs and stuff like that. So they were kind of not a recruitment agency, but they kind of like helped on the way. And that kind of still was something I was interested in, because I also was exploring the idea of being a teacher. So that kind of really resonated with me too.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Okay, so you mentioned that you had your video interview. How long did the application process take from doing your CV to actually getting that job offer?
So I think I only stumbled across like the internship and the internship page, and when like the deadline for this company was like, I feel like it was like 5 days. I feel like I saw it on a like the Monday, and it was like due
Right.
Friday.
Right.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. So I applied within like 5 days. Had to get my like cover letter, my CV sorted, and then I think within a week I was offered an interview, and at this point it was still in the physical form. So actually I went to they're based in Bracknell, so I went to Bracknell, had my interview. Um, and then within about a week later, I would want to say that was probably a Tuesday or a Thursday, sometime like that. And
Yeah.
then a, about the next week, about on a Tuesday, I think I was contacted, and they phoned me and they offered me the position. So that's great.
Wow, that's pretty quick,
Yeah, it
for
was
for
quite.
them to get back. Yeah, I mean, you did mention, you did practice the 50 most popular questions. Do you have any advice for students who do have to go into these interviews? Now, I mean, things are virtual, but
Mm,
when things do get better and they have to go in face to face, what sort of tips do you have for them?
um, I mean, I would say probably the quite kind of like common cliche ones, but definitely arrive early. That is always a good sign. Like even the director of the company was like, "I like the fact you're early," and I was like, "Thank you." Literally, little did she know the stress it had like taken me, because buses are very unreliable. Just saying. So anyway, be early. Um, then I would say, obviously, all the cliche stuff like dress nicely, treat everyone nice. Well, what you should be doing anyway, treating everyone with respect, and I guess also be yourself, be prepared. Like you want to know your answers. You don't want to be sat there thinking, oh, I don't know, I should have thought about this. Like I would know the answers, be familiar with the 50, just Google it, just be familiar with the 50 top most asked questions. Like what is your weakness, for example? You want to have an answer. So I would say that is really good. Just show your enthusiasm as well. Like I was enthusiastic about their whole program, like their whole company, not just the kind of project management side to it. So they had a whole like kind of stock room of suits, because they were helping dress unemployed people for their interviews. And because I
Yeah.
worked in retail, I was like, I'm really interested in this, show me this. So I mean, like, show you're interested.
Um, yeah, no, I think that's pretty good advice for anyone out there, just preparing for interviews, especially during this time. So after you did your interview, did you receive any feedback? You know, like what you did well, what you could improve on? Um,
I would say I'm not too sure about this one because basically the director phoned me and was like, I think it was meant to go out in an email potentially. I don't know, I'm not really too sure. But anyway, she phoned me and she was like, oh, we'd really love to offer you this position. And I guess because it was a phone call as well, I can't obviously remember exactly what was said because this was like a year ago.
yeah.
I think they just saying how they just liked me, which obviously was very flattering. But I don't really have any feedback to improve for future interviews, if that makes sense. But hey
Yeah.
ho.
No, that's totally okay. So I mean, you started your internship office-based. What was that like in comparison to the job description?
So basically, when I got offered my internship, like I said, my start date kept getting pushed back because of COVID.
Yeah.
So basically, it was meant to be in office, but it ended up being remote and online. But obviously, that wasn't the intention of the internship. So it did end up being probably well. I can't say exactly because obviously I never experienced the internship in person, but I think it ended up being quite different to what it would have been. Yeah.
Um, um, what did you learn from your internship?
I would say resilience, definitely, patience. Just in relation to the fact that it kept getting postponed, and it was something I was really, really looking forward to. I was really excited to start, and it kept getting pushed back. And then even when I started, within a week, it got pushed back again because the company were having kind of like having to decide and make use of the furlough schemes and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a hokey pokey kind of moment. So I would definitely say patience and, being grateful for the experience because so my internship got cut short basically because of COVID. But I would say remaining positive because I still finessed my application. I still went to my interview and like got it. And it was a learning experience. I still got to work with them for like a couple of weeks, and within the internship, I actually learned, I guess, some project management skills, which obviously was the original aim. So it was all kind of remote though, and so I guess I learned a few tips from project management. Probably would have learnt more if obviously it continued, but graphs and tables are very useful things for projects. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you did pick up some really handy, things from your internship. So, I mean, looking at it or reflecting back at it now, what opportunities has that opened up now that you're going to graduate this summer?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely given me the professional experience required if I did want to pursue project management further. So currently, because I'm passionate about it, and also the current climate has urged me, I've decided that I want to go into teaching, and so basically, teaching is also a lot of project management just within. So it's helped given me pure project management experience alongside like with my future potential project management experience. If I ever then want to go fully into project management, I think I've got enough professional experience to be able to state in the interview like I've done X, Y, and Z, you know.
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty handy, using your sort of real life examples and then using them in other situations that you
Yeah.
get yourself into. So that's pretty good. Do you have any tips for, I mean, other students like yourself, like me, to be successful at these internships? So like from the interview stage or, even when applying, um, and even after.
Yeah, I would say from application stage, make sure your CV is up to standard, just book an appointments with careers or ask somebody. I would say also make sure your CV, your cover letter is specified to the company you're going for, because they don't want to see like a generic cover letter. They want to see you've put the effort and time in to research their business. With the interview, like I said, be yourself, show interest. And then, what was your question again? Sorry.
Do you have any tips for success? Once you've done the internship?
I would say definitely making relationships with people quickly is essential for everything. It's the vibe you give, people will give you back. So if you're positive and you're chatty and you make the effort, people are gonna enjoy your presence and, you know, enjoy the fact you're working with them. So like I said, even though my internship was cut short, the company was still extremely happy to provide me with references and whatnot, because, you know, I made a good impression in that limited amount of time. So I would say always be positive, obviously thank them. Even like I had a great experience, but even if you had a bad experience, thank the company, thank the business. Like, they've taken the time out to offer you an internship, thank them for it. And also it reflects positively on future opportunities. Like, never burn bridges when you leave something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really strong point that I think any student who's been on a job or, you know, on an internship would certainly take. So, in regards to that, what has been your biggest takeaway with the whole internship?
I think for me, like I said, because my internship was cut short, so I didn't learn a lot necessarily about project management. What I did do, I enjoyed and it did help. But my biggest takeaway is definitely remaining positive and looking at the positives out of it, even though it didn't end up the way I wanted it to be. And like, it was remote and it was online and it got pushed back, etc., etc. I look at the experience completely fondly. Like, it taught me so much, and I think you've got to focus on the positives in a bad situation. I wouldn't deem it bad, but like, you know what I mean, like, not what I intended. So I think definitely looking at the positives.
No, I totally agree. So, I mean, you know, now that you said that you want to go into teaching, for example, what sort of positive example, you know, you've said like you're resilient. What sort of positive example would you give in a situation where you're interviewing for these jobs now?
Sorry, can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, of course, no worries. So, I mean, you did say that, you know, you're being positive, or you've learned to be positive. So, if an interviewer in the future asks you, you know, how did you manage to be positive? Of course, you did mention, you know, your internship, for example, it was pushed back. But what if, what about if, you know, like, is there any example that you can give during that working time? Like when you were working, that you had to be positive?
Oh, I see. I guess being positive about being adaptable to the different climates and situations. Because like I said, my internship was never intended to be online. It was meant to be in person. I was meant to be going to different teaching events with them, etc. But obviously it all became remote and online. So I guess, yeah, I would say being positive within as well, within the current situation, look for the positives in it as well, rather than just retrospectively.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great. So thank you so much for joining our first coffee catch up. That sort of wraps the end of it. And I mean, yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You too.